host, Olive Burrows. In the last couple of days, the Pandora to NTV at 1. I'm your host, Olive Burrows. In the last couple of days, the Pandora are forced to contend with the ravages of climate change and a pandemic. And in this next one, I'm your host, Olive Burrows. In the last couple of days, the Pandora Papers concerned the leaks coming at a time when the most vulnerable in societies are pandemic. This next report reveals why you should take. Our president was mentioned in the Pandora Papers. So that is what we are focusing on, and that is the significance to Kenyans in terms of how do his offshore holdings reflect on his administration, his governance decisions, his policy decisions, and of course in light of the tax measures that have been introduced, how that impacts them. NTV at 1, I'm your host, Olive Burrows. In the last couple of days, the Pandora pandemic. Let's take a look at this report.
Rich people, their
jobs are concerned. The leaks coming at a time when the most vulnerable in terms of the reaction we're receiving on the Pandora Papers and our reporting of it here in Kenya is mixed. What is for certain is that it has started a conversation on illicit financial flows, and Kenyans are debating the legality of a state officer, such as the president, holding a foreign bank account and what the exceptions, if any, there may be. Good afternoon to you and welcome to NTV at 1. I'm your host, Olive Burrows. In the last couple,
they're just not like us. Us pay taxes. The leaks go on to name.
The challenges we are facing as far as covering this story is who it touches on, and that is none other than the head of state. And he comes from a very powerful family who have vast holdings, vast private holdings here in Kenya. And given those vast private holdings and his position in government, you have to understand that a lot of media houses do business with the government and the private sector. And therefore, covering such an issue, you have to cover it sensitively, right, from a commercial perspective. But then you also have your editorial commitment, that is to provide the public with the truth the best you know how at that particular time. So it has proven a challenge in terms of access to information, as previous inquiries on the wealth of the first family and the president have been met with resistance and defensiveness and guardedness. To you and welcome to NTV at 1. I'm your host, Olive Burrows. And the revelations contained in the Pandora Papers should matter to you. A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to NTV at 1. I think we have to borrow a leaf from our counterparts, I beg your pardon, in the West, and draw a line between the editorial and the commercial interests. I find sometimes they get muddled. And I think that's what we need to do moving forward, especially as we head towards the 2022 general elections, and draw a distinct line between our commercial interests and our editorial interests. Days, the Pandora Papers have blown the lid off the different rules by which the 1%. The leaks coming at a time when the most vulnerable in societies across the globe are forced to contend. NTV at 1. I'm your host, Olive Burrows. In the last couple of days, the